Hi, I'm Virginia.
And I'm John.
We're with VJ Books, and
We're talking books.
I asked John to tell me about a new author that he found. Wanted to share that information with you because I think it's somebody you're going to want to read and collect. John, tell us about how you first met up with Matt Coyle.
You know, it's interesting that occasionally I'll grab a book off the shelf because I just need something to read, and I was taking a trip out of town on an airplane and I needed a book to read, so I grabbed one of these books off the shelf and had never read him before, and I was absolutely blown away.
Why?
Matt writes about a detective, Rick Cahill. He's in the La Jolla, San Diego area, and it just rings. This detective is everything you'd want from a fictional detective. He's flawed, he's damaged, he's self-doubting, self-deprecating. But he does the right thing. His kind of byline is that he's willing to do what's wrong in order to do what's right, and he's just a fascinating character, and I fell in love with him.
So Coyle's main character is Rick Cahill.
It is.
And that's out of La Jolla?
Yeah, La Jolla, California.
All of the stories that you've read?
Yes. Actually, that's where Matt Coyle lives, and he's very familiar with the area. And in fact, the area, the La Jolla, San Diego area, is almost another character in the book. He describes it at such depth, and some of the wealth in La Jolla and some of the million-dollar homes, you can almost see the ocean from their back deck.
Oh, wow.
It's very well done.
The first in the series is Yesterday's Echo?
Yesterday's Echo. It's his first book, and it introduces Rick. Rick's a former police officer who is accused of his wife's murder. While he is not convicted, he's not vindicated, and he's kind of still the suspect in that, so it kind of taints him. He walks around with that, isn't able to be a policeman anymore, so the only job he could find is running a restaurant for a friend of his in La Jolla. And in this particular book, a woman walks in. Of course, all the women are beautiful, and she is especially so, and catches Rick's eye, and she gets accused of murder, and he finds it his purpose to help vindicate her for that murder. And it was a noteworthy book. It won the Anthony Award for the best first novel.
Nice.
And that's a good way to start for any author.
From there, what's the second book in the series?
Second book is called Night Tremors, and in this book, Cahill is asked to help vindicate a guy who's been accused of murder, a really grisly murder. He's convicted and he's in prison, and an old mentor of Rick's asked him to help him get the guy a new trial and get him vindicated, and they do so, and that's when the story really takes off.
Is there a lot of legal aspects to the story?
Not
mystery?
Yeah. It's more detective work, proving the guy innocent. It's kind of a turn for Cahill because he's now a private detective, and he's kind of a slime detective. You know,
But you like him anyway.
Oh, absolutely. You know, what can I say? And he's proves adultery. You know, he's the guy with the camera in the window catching them in the act, so that the hiring authority can then end the marriage with the least amount of strain.
Got it. Dark Fissures?
Dark Fissures is the third in the series, and this one, another beautiful woman comes into play. This one is an aspiring country western singer who hires Rick to help her prove that her ex-husband's suicide was in fact a murder, and he does that, and it's not to give away. You know, it's not a spoiler. You expect him to solve the crime, and he does.
Sure.
But fascinating character.
Now, his most recent title just released. It's Blood Truth. And you might want to hear Matt's interview with our Blog Talk Radio host, Roger Nichols. It's wonderful. Won't spoil the interview at all, but tell us about Blood Truth.
Well, Matt Coyle learned about my interest in his books, sent me the advanced reading copy a few weeks ago, and I read it. And again, it stays. Rick Cahill is still Rick Cahill, and And in this particular book, he finds a safe that was his dad's. His dad was previously, 28 years, I believe is the number, was thrown off the police force for corruption. He was accused of being a bag man for the mob, and while he was never really convicted of it, he was let go of the force, lost his pension, became an alcoholic, and the downward spiral associated with that. And it's kind of Rick's, one of those things that he packs around with him, along with the death of his wife and all the guilt that he has in him. And one of these is that in the La Jolla Police Department, it's in an old building known as the Brick House. The Cahills have a reputation that is really tainted. So he lives in La Jolla, which I can't quite understand, if people think that way of you, you want to stick around. But he does. And he finds in this safe a 25 caliber gun with 2 bullets missing and $15,000 in cash in an envelope. And he goes about trying to determine whether that is actual proof that his father was a bagman for the mob, and was this payoff? Because there was a murder about the time his father left the force that involved a guy getting shot with a 25 caliber, 2 shots, 2 missing shots. So he, one of the plot lines in the story is he's trying to figure out what this all means. On the secondary plot line, his old girlfriend Kim calls him to investigate whether her husband is in fact cheating on her. And so Rick takes on the case reluctantly and follows the husband around, catches him with a woman who ends up found dead in the trunk of her brand new Corvette. And so he gets arrested for the crime. So simultaneously, Rick has these 2 threads going at the same time, and it's a fascinating mystery.
What's the strength of Matt Coyle's writing for you?
I think it's character development. He really, you can hear me talk about Rick Cahill like I know him, and that that's, I think, the strength of a real mystery writer, is the ability to give real character to the people in the plot, and Cahill is that, and there are other characters who are just as critical to the story. I don't want to give them all away, but you'll find the whole series fascinating. We have all 4 of them in stock. Excellent. Recommend you to read them. It helps to read them in order, but you don't have to. But the new one just released, and he's signing them for us now, and we'll have them out on the shelves pretty soon.
If you want more information about Matt Coyle, take a look at his VJ Books author page. We'll have that link listed for you. Just final question, John. What does he remind you of, Rick Cahill? What other characters, so that if someone is interested in another author, who might they consider?
Well, the ultimate detective is Elvis Cole.
So Cahill reminds you of Cole?
In the depth of strength in the character. Different storylines, different backstories, but Elvis Cole is Robert Crace's main character in all of his novels. And
well written. So he's written that well.
Yeah, in fact, he got accolades from Robert Crace about his stories.
Oh, great. Well, wonderful. We hope you've enjoyed hearing about our new debut author, Matt Coyle. Please consider picking up his books at vjbooks.com. Also, take a look or listen to the Blog Talk Radio interview that he had with our host, Roger Nichols, at Modern Sign Books, Blog Talk Radio. Don't forget to sign up for our Book Collecting 101 series, a list of PDFs that talk about book collecting, how to make sure that your collection has the most amount of value and enjoyment for you. Been nice talking to you. We'll see you again. I'm Virginia.
I'm John.
We're with VJ Books.
Thank you.